Have you ever witnessed someone kicking a defenseless animal and felt powerless to stop them? Well, buckle up, because what happened when this cruel biker picked the wrong dog to mess with will leave you completely speechless. The tough guy had no idea that the scruffy-looking man in the worn-out leather jacket walking a dog would turn out to be Hollywood's most humble superstar. But first, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And be sure to subscribe for more incredible true stories dropping tomorrow. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the quiet streets of Los Angeles' Silver Lake neighborhood. It was an ordinary Thursday, with residents going about their business, dog walkers, joggers, and the occasional drone of traffic in the distance. The air smelled of jasmine and freshly cut grass, mixed with the faint scent of coffee from nearby cafes. Among the pedestrians was a man who seemed utterly unremarkable at first glance. He wore a faded black leather jacket, well-worn jeans, and scuffed boots that had clearly seen better days. His unkempt hair was partially hidden under a baseball cap, and a pair of basic sunglasses obscured his eyes. In his right hand, he held a simple leash attached to a medium-sized mixed-breed dog with a sandy-colored coat and expressive brown eyes. The man moved with a quiet grace, his steps measured and unhurried. He paused occasionally to let his dog sniff at interesting patches of grass or to greet passers-by with a small nod. There was nothing flashy about him, nothing that would suggest he was anything more than another local resident enjoying the mild California weather with his canine companion. The peaceful atmosphere of the neighborhood was about to be shattered by the roar of an approaching motorcycle. The calm serenity was broken by the thunderous sound of a Harley-Davidson tearing down the residential street. The rider, decked out in brand-new leather gear adorned with countless metal studs and chrome accents, seemed determined to announce his presence to everyone within a half-mile radius. His pristine jacket bore the emblem of a local motorcycle club, though those familiar with the scene would recognize it as a wannabe group rather than any established organization. Rex Crusher Callahan, as he styled himself, was everything the man with the dog was not. Where the dog walker exuded quiet confidence, Rex radiated aggressive posturing. His custom helmet, featuring a skull design that cost more than some people's monthly rent, reflected the sunlight like a disco ball. Every movement seemed calculated to draw attention, from the way he revved his engine unnecessarily at stop signs to how he glared at pedestrians who dared to look his way. As Rex pulled up to a red light, he noticed the man walking the dog approaching the intersection. Something about the stranger's unassuming appearance triggered a response in Rex. Perhaps it was the worn clothes, or maybe the peaceful demeanor that stood in such stark contrast to his own desperate need for attention. Rex sneered behind his visor, already forming judgments about the nobody who dared to share the same street as him. "Hey, old man!" Rex shouted over the rumble of his engine, his voice dripping with contempt. "Nice dog. Bet it cost you a whole day's wages, huh?" The man with the dog paused, turning his head slightly toward the source of the interruption. His expression remained neutral, almost serene. He gave a small nod of acknowledgement, but said nothing, choosing instead to wait patiently for the light to change. Rex, unaccustomed to being ignored, felt his temper flare. He revved his engine again, louder this time. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Or are you just too poor to afford a reply?" The man finally spoke, his voice calm and measured. "Everyone's fighting their own battles, friend. Hope yours gets easier." This unexpected response caught Rex off guard. He had anticipated anger, fear, or at least some visible discomfort. Instead, he received what sounded like compassion. The light turned green, but Rex lingered, his pride demanding he have the last word. As the man began to cross the street with his dog, Rex made a decision that would change the course of his day, and perhaps his life. He gunned his engine and swerved closer to the pedestrians, causing several onlookers to gasp. "Watch where you're going, loser!" Rex snarled, bringing his bike to an abrupt stop just feet from the man and his dog. "People like you should know your place on the sidewalk." The dog, startled by the sudden noise and proximity of the motorcycle, let out a small whimper and pressed against its owner's leg. The man reached down to comfort the animal, his movements gentle and reassuring. "There's enough road for everyone," the man replied, his voice still remarkably calm. No need for aggression. Rex dismounted his bike, his leather boots hitting the pavement with deliberate force. Standing at his full height, he towered over the seated position of the dog walker. You think you can lecture me about aggression? Look at you. Probably can't even afford a real vehicle. By now, several pedestrians had stopped to watch the confrontation unfold. Some held up their phones, recording the scene, while others whispered among themselves. Material possessions don't define a person's worth, the man said, gently stroking his dog's head. How we treat others, especially those who can't defend themselves, that's what truly matters. Rex's face reddened. He wasn't used to being challenged, especially not with philosophy. Oh, spare me the fortune cookie wisdom. You know what I think? He took a menacing step forward. I think you and your mutt need to learn some respect. Respect is earned through actions, not demanded through intimidation, the man responded, finally standing to his full height. Even in his worn clothes, there was something commanding about his presence that Rex hadn't noticed before. You talk big for someone who looks like they shop at the thrift store, Rex spat, but his voice wavered slightly. The man smiled, a genuine expression that reached his eyes. You know, I've found that the most insecure people often try the hardest to appear strong. Real strength comes from within, not from the clothes we wear or the things we own. Rex's hands clenched into fists. Are you calling me insecure? I'm suggesting that true confidence doesn't require putting others down, the man replied. When we feel good about ourselves, we naturally want to lift others up, not tear them down. A woman in the growing crowd nodded in agreement, and Rex noticed more people gathering, their phones still recording. What would you know about confidence? Rex challenged, though his bravado was beginning to crack. You're just some nobody walking a dog. The man's expression remained kind. I know that confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It's comfortable in its own skin, whether that skin is covered in designer leather or a second-hand jacket. Something in Rex snapped. Maybe it was the growing crowd, or the calm way this stranger was dismantling his carefully constructed image. In a moment of blind rage, he lashed out with his boot, aiming a vicious kick at the dog. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. The man moved with lightning speed, positioning himself between Rex's boot and the dog. The kick never connected with its intended target, but the attempt was enough to elicit gasps of horror from the onlookers. That's enough, the man said, his voice now carrying an edge of steel. He still hadn't raised his voice, but there was an unmistakable authority in his tone. It was at this moment that a teenager in the crowd suddenly exclaimed, "Oh my God, that's Keanu Reeves." The words rippled through the gathering like an electric current. Phones that had been recording now zoomed in, capturing the unmistakable features of the Hollywood star beneath the baseball cap and sunglasses. Rex froze, his boot still suspended in midair. The color drained from his face as he processed what he had just attempted to do, kick the dog of one of the most beloved actors in Hollywood, known worldwide not just for his movies, but for his legendary trope. Keanu removed his sunglasses, revealing those familiar eyes that had graced countless movie screens. I am, he said simply. And this is my dog, whom you just tried to harm. Rex stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his own motorcycle. The crowd's murmurs grew louder, with people expressing shock and disgust at what they had witnessed. I didn't know, Rex stammered, his earlier bravado completely evaporated. I mean, I wouldn't have, if I had known. And that's exactly the problem, Keanu replied, his voice gentle but firm. Your behavior shouldn't change based on who someone is. Every person deserves basic respect, whether they're a movie star or a homeless person on the street. Rex's mind raced. He thought about all the times he had bullied others, all the people he had intimidated to feel powerful. He had always targeted those he perceived as weak or beneath him, never considering that his actions revealed his own weakness. I'm sorry, Rex said, the words feeling foreign in his mouth. I don't know what came over me. I guess I wanted to feel important. Keanu nodded thoughtfully. We all want to feel important, but true importance comes from how we impact others' lives positively, not from making them feel small. Rex looked at the dog, who was now peeking out from behind Keanu's legs. Is he okay? I didn't actually hit him, did I? No, he's fine, Keanu assured him. But that's not really the point, is it? No, Rex admitted, hanging his head. It's not. I've been acting like a jerk. As the crowd began to disperse, many still shaking their heads at what they had witnessed, Keanu did something unexpected. He extended his hand to Rex. Everyone makes mistakes, he said. What matters is what we do after we realize we've made them. Rex hesitated, then took the offered hand. I don't deserve your kindness after what I tried to do. Maybe not, Keanu replied with a small smile, but that's what makes it kindness. After Rex rode away, much more quietly than he had arrived, Keanu continued his walk with his dog. Several people approached to pet the animal and thanked Keanu for his grace in handling the situation. He greeted each person warmly, taking time to chat and even pose for a few photos. A young woman who had witnessed the entire incident remarked, I can't believe you were so calm. Most people would have lost it. Keanu shrugged. Anger rarely solves anything. Besides, it seemed like he needed understanding more than punishment. As the sun began to set over Silver Lake, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, Rex sat on a bench several blocks away, his motorcycle parked quietly beside him. He watched as other dog walkers passed by, and for the first time, he really saw them. Not as targets for his insecurity-driven aggression, but as people, each with their own stories and struggles. He thought about Keanu's words, about true strength and real importance. He realized that all his posturing, all his expensive gear and loud behavior, had been nothing more than a mask for his own deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. As night fell, Rex made a decision. He would sell some of his flashy motorcycle accessories and donate the money to a local animal shelter. It was a small step, but it was a start. Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves continued his evening walk, just another person enjoying the simple pleasure of time with his dog. Those who passed him might have noticed something special about his demeanor, but few would have guessed they were walking past a Hollywood superstar. And that was exactly how he liked it. The moral of this story isn't just about treating others with respect. It's about understanding that true strength lies in kindness, real confidence is quiet, and the most powerful people are often those who use their power to lift others up rather than tear them down. What would you do if you witnessed someone trying to harm an animal? And how might your behavior change if you knew the owner was someone famous? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories that will restore your faith in humanity. Tomorrow, we'll share another amazing tale that proves kindness always wins in the end.